And we're live. Welcome to everybody to today's, I can't even talk, Raquel. Today's Facebook Live. I'm with the one and only Raquel Quinet. Hi, Raquel. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, everyone.
Do you guys love her background? I was just telling her how fun that is. Of like, I see everybody having the trend of having the backgrounds are like that, but they don't have the lights, and you are like a trendsetter. So it's beautiful. You look amazing. So anyway, so I am so grateful that you're here today. Raquel is one of our featured speakers at Real Estate Spring Break, and I'm ridiculously grateful because if you guys know, Raquel is one of the top coaches, respected influencers in the real estate space. And so for her to be joining us is massive. So really quickly, just for those who don't know you, maybe give like a 60-second background of who you are, your history, what kind of maybe got you to where you're at today. So anyway, welcome.
Loaded question, but when I got into real estate, I've been in real estate for over 2 decades. I've gone anywhere from starting my own team in different markets to running a brokerage and being a recruiter for a top brokerage, taking it, out of failing brokerage to one of the top 10 market centers throughout the country. That landed me into more expansion. I've also co-owned mortgage companies. And today I get the honor and the privilege of coaching so many different brands across across our real estate industry on like what works. So, using my experience, even in the prop tech and corporate and real estate building teams, I am able to help people today to really inspire them to like get a big business so that they could play bigger in business and in life.
I love that. So I find it fascinating. Because you've had such a robust career, right? Like you just listed off a laundry list of like, hey, this is what I've done, right? And so I guess this is totally off topic, but I'm just curious because I think so many people get stuck that they're like, I can just do one thing in real estate, and you just listed off so many. So I'm curious to like the progression of the different steps you took. And we're going off topic, sorry. Just so curious about this of like, and then how you ended up in coaching. Like, what was it? Because I think a lot of people I'm watching right now, Raquel, and so many people are like, I'm a coach or I'm getting a coach. We even have coaching products, right? But I'm curious because you're doing it at a very high level. You're coaching some of the elite out there, and you don't work for like an organization that's one of these big box names. So maybe just talk about like the progression and then how you ultimately got into that coaching space at a high level.
I wish I could tell you like I had this like amazing, beautiful, planned out all the steps, but I think every opportunity that I got in my journey kind of resulted to the next step. So when we were building a team, that was by accident. It was me going to college and somebody said you couldn't work the real estate business part-time. Well, I just had that chip on my shoulder saying like, there's got to be a way. And I think it was more ego driven when I was younger. And so it was like, well, I think I'm going to hire somebody to basically show properties while I'm in college. And that was the start of what the heck is this team? There was no red book. There was no team book. And it was just figuring out how I'm going to make my life and my business that I committed to work. And then we built one of the first teams in the Bay Area. So I knew firsthand what that looked like, the mess of building a team when there was no instruction book. And then I think when we got #1 market share in Union City, California, lenders started approaching us. Hey, let's do a partnership. Can we do all of your loans? And I was like, well, what does that look like? And then somebody else just through conversation invited me to be a partner. And then I was like, oh, I didn't know that that was a thing. I didn't know that you could open up a mortgage company and have a real estate team going at the same time. So that was a total exploration just because of a conversation. And it was like, how do I own one of those? Because, I was fortunate enough to get into real estate by accident. I wanted to be an investor. I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I thought, okay, well, what does it look like to own 2 different companies?
Yeah.
And I think like over time, as you start to work with people and try to get results, because you don't have more than 24 hours. So it's like, how can I be strategic about building both companies And so that came into hiring, and
Mhm.
we still make mistakes today. It's like, how do we, I mean, we're looking for video editors today in the creative space and the marketing. It's
Yeah.
like, how do we get super talented people in our world to kind of help alleviate some of the things that are key in our business?
I think you saw that from the very beginning, right? You saying, "Hey, well, I'll hire." That's you
Mhm.
thinking bigger. And her whole hashtag like theme, everything for her is play bigger. But I think that this was you thinking bigger of how can I do this differently. And so even just from the very beginning of hiring somebody to help show homes when you're in college to now you're like, hey, what leverage do I need in place?
Mhm.
um, okay, so you're a coach to some of the most elite. Like I know who you coach, and their numbers are freaking amazing and they're doing big things. So I'd love to hear your input because the market is technically down.
Mhm.
It's down in the United States of America. It's down by 40%. And for you guys that are listening that are consumers, homeowners, and sellers, when I say 40%, I don't mean your home value. I mean the number of transactions that are happening across the United States of America that are transacting is down by 40%. So I'd love to hear what you're seeing because I know they're crushing it. And I'd love to know what they're doing differently or what pivots they made to absolutely crush it. So let's start with that.
Yeah, I think one of the things what makes this coaching relationship, first of all, it happened by accident during the pandemic where top agents said, Raquel, you've led people remotely. How do I lead my team remotely? Because now I'm in this pandemic and they're not next door to me. My prospecting team is not in the office. So how do we do that? And I've just been a study of trends. I've been a study of data for a very long time. So when I see things, and I started seeing things probably on our teams because they run big numbers, and so it's probably like September, October, like it started dipping. And I would look and start to forecast. I'm like, this looks familiar, right?
Mhm.
We're starting to get slow pending transactions. So how do we set them up for success in November, December?
Mhm.
Right? If they weren't thinking about that they had to do more, meaning get better with scripts, get better with conversion. When you hear some of the top agents that had it very easy, and it's no different from the '05 market, right? When I came into town as the new agent or the new team leader, it was order taking before that. You didn't need skills, but in '07, '08, 2010, you actually needed skills. And today what I'm finding is people know their scripts, but they don't know how to get into relationship of nurturing and how long it's going to take for their leads. And I think the other thing,
No, keep going, keep going. Yes,
the
I.
other thing I think is that people think that you can build a system and like forget about it. I think
Mhm.
that you have to tweak it along the way as the markets change. We've changed our whole process as we're starting to build our own team right now in this market because we know that there's lots of opportunities. If we can help other teams, why not build something locally? And some of it might be you can't hand off your seller to your transaction coordinator right away because they're nervous, they're scared. They wake up after that listing appointment going, what did I just do? And so, how do
Yeah.
we lower the fear of our consumers today so that we build the relationship and it's not a transaction?
Yeah. I think what I was going to say is that's absolutely crucial. So two components, what you said there was, yeah, I use the analogy of fish. You're going fishing, right? And it's been that these buyers were just literally like fish just jumping in the boat. You don't even have to cast. It would be like
Mhm.
you'd go to the gym and somebody would say, hey, I want to buy an investment property or I want to do these things. And so now it's not like that, right? You actually have to work and hone in on your skills and that follow up. And to your point, I agree with you. Like the consumer, there's so much messaging and it's not black and white. And so having to hold that relationship, I would say that's probably the biggest thing we're teaching our agents right now because they haven't had to do it. Like they literally would meet the client at the home, be like, oh, you want to pay me more money than it's worth? And you want to give me $50,000 non-refundable earnest money and there's no appraisal. You know what I mean? All those things where now it's like, no, you actually need to build a relationship and make them feel comfortable and you need to know what you're doing. So I love that. So let me ask you this, because one of the things we've been doing as a team owner massively is recruiting
Mhm.
because To expect that your agents are going to increase by 40% is probably absurd. So I'm questioning, is that all your large teams, is that their number one initiative as well, or one of the top ones?
One of the top ones for sure. And I think the other thing that's super important, I think I remember 2 years ago, a client of ours we let go and said all she's focused on is brand and social media. But I knew at the forefront, just because I'm in different industries and coming from the tech world, is like, we got to build brand. We got to build influence because, like you just said, there's lots of noise. And so one of the things that we work with our teams is like, what's your it factor? How are you standing out? What's that rhythm and that cadence look like for even your team members? Because today I can tell you, as we're hiring right now, is we probably won't hire somebody that won't be comfortable on video or willing to do the work. Because if you're not on video as a real estate agent, it's going to be tough for the next few years. I think it's going to be very, very tough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's so many options. And so if they're going to be hiring you, they want to know who you are. I remember I did video starting in 2010, which was one of the first, right? And I would walk into somebody's home on a listing appointment and they'd say, I feel like I already know you. Like we stalked your YouTube channel. We're on your email list. We just have a few questions. And so I think people, if they understood the power of a video and what it does for their influence, would be, they'd be crazy not to do it. So the market's picked up, right? Like everywhere is kind of picking up a little bit, spring selling season. So what's your, as a coach, like what are your people focusing on besides like the video and recruiting? Like what's the focus going in the spring selling season?
I think it's really understanding their lead gen levers and their conversion. I think there's a lot of money left on the table when they don't track where their follow-up systems are, or it can't be on automation all the time. And really understanding what I call the middle of the funnel. Like the leads part, I think is very easy. You can get DMs today. You can put a story out today and you can get DMs. But if somebody's not willing to buy in 30 days, what does your brand experience and your process look like in 6 months, in a year?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that that's what people need to understand is I love the funnel, like top of the funnel, getting a lead. Great. To your point. And what are you going to do to keep that, nurture that relationship? So when they're ready to buy a home, you're who they buy with, because there's so many options, right? I think statistically they say just in the online space, Raquel, like 125 million online leads are sold every year. And annually there's 5 million homes projected to sell this year, 4.8, but for easy math, 5 million for me. That means that lead is in 25 other systems, 25 other databases. They're on Zillow, realtor.com, your database, Open Door, whatever. And so what are you going to do to nurture that relationship? So when it's time, they're wanting to transact with you. So you're coming to spring break.
Yes, and I'm so excited. If there's one event that I'm excited about, I always say, you guys got to come to spring break. It's 3 days. You have to, and it's in beautiful San Diego. Hello.
Yeah, I'm excited. I last year did it in Mexico, and last year was fire. I have to admit, like it was probably the best event, and not because it was my event. Honestly, Raquel, I walked in the day of the event and was like, oh shit, this is legit. Like you ever have those moments where you're like, oh my gosh, because I went in the night before and they hadn't set up the room, right? And so I went in, they were in the process. And so I went in that morning and I was like, oh wow. And the event was so amazing. And then we booked the same venue. And then when we had to solidify everything come third quarter, I was like, oh my gosh, I actually came to you for advice. I said, what do you think? Like, am I insane for doing an event in Mexico? Because the market had just tanked, at least for us, right? And we made the decision to still do the event, but do it in San Diego. So I'm excited. And what I'm excited about, though, is it's just going to be different. And I think what Mexico did for me was, when you fly to Mexico, you're not going to go for just a day, right? So it created that you were there for 3 days and that people were having fun together. And there was so much value that came outside of the walls of, hey, content, that I'm like, let's just duplicate that in San Diego. So it's 3.5 days, content till 1, and then you can attend some breakout sessions. Sharon's going to do a breakout for us for if anybody is a real agent. You don't have to be a real agent, but he's just, if you want to come check out what real is, right? And then we're going to have fun activities like yoga, paddleboarding, jet skis. I rented a boat again, like Ignite. So it's going to be good, you know?
If you have never been to one of Spring's event, it is fire. So you guys got to come.
Yeah. It's one of those things, Raquel, that after I sign the contracts, I go into that like, what the F did I just do? My team on the back end is like, what did we just do again? I'm like, well, here we go. Like, if we're going to do an event, we might as well make it rad, you know? So,
Yep.
but you are going to be one of the featured people. And actually, what's really cool about this is, so Sharon that I've just mentioned, actually you coach with him, and I just think we have such a great lineup. I think that people having the opportunity to hear from you and then get the downtime to actually like sit down and have a real conversation with you, and is going to be so massive value. So I appreciate you so much. If any of you guys want to come and you're thinking, because we've had a lot of people viewing this, Raquel has a discount code. It's Raquel VIP that you can use, or hit me up. I'll get you guys a code or whatnot. Raquel, you got anything else you want to say, my friend?
Oh my God. First of all, my friend, I'm honored to speak in this powerful lineup. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited to really pour into everybody that comes in. And I think there's one thing to be said when you can learn on Zoom, but when you're in these live events, this is where the true collaboration happens.
Mm-hmm.
And even for you and I, if it wasn't for a live event, we probably wouldn't have known each other, right? And been collaborating since then.
Yep. Well, that's why I put this event design the way as well, is because to your point, you go to the event and you learn a ton. Like, you guys are going to hear Raquel on stage. She's going to be dropping some bombs, but then you're going to be like, hey, I need more context, or hey, I want her in my life, or hey, I want to be coached by her, or hey, I want to go to one of her events. Like, I really am attracted to her. And so this gives that opportunity that it's not like, hey, I'm in and out and everybody's in a rush. It's like, oh yeah, I'll see you at the pool, or I'll meet you at the lobby, you know, or whatever. So I agree. Live events, I feel like they're really saturated right now, though, like, just being very candid. But I also believe, like, this one, I was really intentional about who I brought on stage, and then who's the venue, who's going to be there, all that. So I think it's going to be good. I know it's going to be good. So,
like my mentor says, Sharon, live events change lives. And I always say, and adds incredible opportunities in your life.
I love that. So cool.
I think that, like, the way your schedule's set up, unlike any other event, unlike any other conference, is you actually put that playtime or that connection time or that collaboration time. So you're not sitting all day. If you look at the schedule, right? That's your intentional time to go make those connections, to network with some of the powerful people that are going to be in this room.
Yeah. And we have some power players coming. Like, I was looking at it and I was like, oh, damn, even down to our sponsors, like, our sponsors are legit, that are bringing like their CEOs of the company. It's not, it's going to be fantastic. So again, I'm so grateful for you. So thank you.
Grateful for you.
Yes. Oh, I love this, gal. I love live changes lives. Yes. So true. Okay, you guys, we'd love to see you. If you haven't got your ticket, grab it. Raquel, I'll see you soon, girl. I feel like we're on the same. Oh, we're speaking at the thing in Vegas, Modern Real Estate Summit, right? On the 9th?
Somewhat. Yeah.
Kind of. Okay. You and I will connect afterwards. All right.
But I am going to see you soon. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Sure. See you guys later. Thank you, Raquel.
Bye.
Bye.